All right, that's probably better. All right. Checking the mic now you can hear what I'm saying. It's very important, and you can see what I'm doing. So basically, we do the outline first. I've done the deepest outline with the swivel knife, which is this, and that's what you do the basic outline in. Now I'm working with a little bit finer of a tool to do all the details, the little curls, and all of that stuff. And then I'll probably get an even finer tool to do things like her eyes and her lips and her nose. Noses are so hard. It's like in most illustrations and stuff, women don't actually have a full nose. It's like a little bit of like a W shape in the middle of their face. So there's a lot of that little delicate things that happen, but are super hard to always kind of trace and stuff. So thank you for being here. This is my very first night of streaming, so it's exciting. And I am working on getting all my things working. Funny, the leather carving is actually the easiest part of tonight. But the music seems to be working, which is very exciting. And it seems like the stream is working better now. We'll see. Been having quite a few issues with it, but it's looking good so far. The music is all played. Weird. Okay. The mics keep flipping out. I keep switching to different mics. So sorry about the change in levels. But the music has all been donated by amazing artists. I have written permission to use their music. And they are Dan Bull, DJ Cutman, Stu Venable, who is also part of the Happy Jacks RPG podcast. And I'm out of sync. Let me see if I can fix the sync. Let's see. Oh, we'll just guess. We'll try 300 and see if that fixes it. All right. See if that's closer to sync or not. We'll get this all dialed in. It's the first try, first night. Welcome. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat room. And I will tweak the sync and see if I can get a little bit better. This is my first night streaming on Creative. My name is Kimmy. I'm also known as GoldenLassoGirl. I love Wonder Woman. I do cosplay other characters, but I'm mostly known for my cosplay of Wonder Woman. So this is the chest piece for this particular cosplay, which is all finished. It's actually real metal, which I love. I like working in realistic materials. If you've seen some of my other cosplays, which some of them are down right here. Hi there. Welcome, Turks. So wait, no, they're right here now. So these cosplays that I've done before. Okay, still gonna tweak. Let's try 900. That might be better. Cosplays down there are real leather, real metal. I love working with real materials. I'm a cosplayer who doesn't really use spandex, although I'm doing my first spandex ever cosplay. Not right now, but I'm working on one for Halloween, actually. So that's very exciting and a pain in the butt because I hate sewing spandex. So this is going to be the front piece of a Wonder Woman cosplay. The corset will be leather, and this will be a front panel piece that's carved kind of in the style of ancient Greek and Roman armor. Yay! Thank you for hosting. So exciting. You're my first person hosting me. Tonight's my first night, so that's very exciting. All right, still tweaking the sync. Thank you for hosting. It's very exciting. So, as you can tell, I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. This particular piece that I'm practicing right now, because I've done some leather carving. These are some earlier practices I've done of other goddesses. So this is one I did. So this is Hera right here. I'm working now on Aphrodite. And yeah, it takes a lot of practice before you actually carve a solid piece, which it will all be one thing. One thing, I am a history teacher at heart, even though I'm an assistant principal now. But Greek and Roman armor traditionally told stories. So they were sort of like wearable propaganda. So I want to make sure that music is like a little jumpy. Sorry about that. You follow me from, yay, yeah, you're the first host. Maybe Twitter, Instagram, something there, maybe on Facebook. I'm GoldenLassoGirl everywhere, except Pinterest, which is super annoying. So anyway, so this is kind of my story. So this is what it will be eventually. This is a smaller copy so you guys can see. This is the goddesses. This is George Perez's art. Amazing. Love him. And this is telling the story of Diana becoming the champion of the Amazons. So we've got kind of the eagle here representing, depending on what version of Wonder Woman's history you're going with, either her coming and being, the fighter for the United States in World War II, or if you go like a la Gail Simone, like the eagle that was flying and the night of her birth and kind of the symbol of the goddesses. Then down here we have some Amazons fighting for the right to be the champion. And yeah, so this is what it will eventually be. This is a small copy. This is the bigger one. So eventually it will all be carved on this front panel piece here, right there under my boobs. And then this awesome piece will be up here, and it will be all red leather. There we go. So it'll be pretty awesome. And right here, this is the Aphrodite that I'm carving. And yeah, so this is her right here. I'm practicing her specifically because all those little curls are going to be really freaking annoying. So what I started with, which was a little bit earlier while my stream was still having a few technical difficulties. Let me fix the sync a little bit more. Is you actually go through and you use a pin. And I use this one to go through and actually just put little dots along the edges of the picture. And then you go through I went through with this particular tool, a little bit sort of a scalpel, but not quite so sharp, and just connected those dots. Then you use a swivel knife, which is this right here, which is a really great job. Oops, make it in the picture. So this is a swivel knife, and you can make those cuts much deeper and much more permanent, which is kind of the excitement and nerve-wracking part of working with leather. Is there's like, you can kind of cover mistakes, but not super well. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've sort of been delving into the whole streaming thing lately. I am part of a tabletop RPG stream, Happy Jack's RPG podcast, that kind of got me into streaming, and a bunch of my cosplay friends. TwitchCon just had a big cosplay contest, and that's kind of, been getting a lot of interest from people, and I watched a lot of my awesome cosplay friends streaming, and I was like, I can totally do this. I kind of have my studio set up to do YouTube tutorials anyway, so I was like, all I need is some webcams. And of course it was like a lot more complicated than that, but it's getting better. People are here now. Welcome, people. Super exciting. And we have a hosting. It's so exciting. So please follow me too. There's another cool little graphic if you follow me. Hint, it's probably Wonder Woman themed too. So, yeah, so this will eventually, I have a picture of the Wonder Woman from the upcoming movie on there because it was sort of the closest thing I could think of, but that isn't exactly what it will look like. This will be much more of a kind of not historically accurate, because Wonder Woman can't really be historically accurate, but history inspired one. So close with the sync. So close, they said. All right, 1307. of 1200. We're dialing this in tonight. Thank you for hanging with me. The music is all donated by awesome artists. I was an artist myself for a long time, so it's really important to me. I got written permission from all of them to play their music on my stream, so please check them out. I have their information down below in the channel info. You can also request songs and see the playlist. This one is by DJ Cutman, who is awesome. I met him at PAX a few years ago. He is an incredible DJ and uses video game sounds and music as inspiration and does an amazing job. Plus, also, he kind of cosplays when he DJs, which is also cool. So it's super exciting. So I'm going to continue here. There we go. Oh, man. I'm going to restart the music because it's kind of stuttery and it's annoying me. I'm not sure why it's sounding like that because it's really good music and I want it to sound super clear for you guys. So let's try this again and see if it gets clear. No. No, it's not terrible. It's not what I want it to be, but it's not terrible. But it sounds a lot better, so please go check those awesome artists out. Alright, so we're going to continue on. I'm going to start doing some of her curls. It's amazing how the top of it looks kind of like those jello molds that are kind of stacked up. It's like an updo. So all those little curls are a little bit of a challenge there. So the cool thing about this particular tool is it's got a fine edge if you use it this way, but you can also use it to kind of flatten and add dimension if you use it this direction. So this is actually my favorite leatherworking tool, even though I'm kind of a leatherworking noob, because it's got this end and then this end, the opposite end, is like this scalpel-like edge. So it's like two awesome tools in one, and it really kind of gets the job done. And then one thing you can do, you want to make sure that it stays moist. I know people don't like that word, but you need your leather to stay moist if you're carving leather. You can kind of see, it's kind of weird how the water just kind of soaks up into the leather. What you do after you carve I want to show you a little bit how you can use this flat edge here. You can just press it down along this edge. So I carved that deeper cut there with the swivel knife here. And now I'm going to use this flat edge to just kind of emboss it and make it stand out a little bit more. And you can kind of see how that looks there. Just make it stand out more. And eventually what you're going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye the leather. Obviously, since it's Wonder Woman's corset, I'm going to dye it red. But then after that, I'm going to go over it with either a black or a very dark brown and kind of ink it. So it's a specific type of dye that you kind of brush over and then wipe off quickly, adding different layers. And that kind of adds the same, like as when people are making armor and they add a little bit of black, it just adds a depth because all the carving that I've done will then really pop. So it'll add details, all the little curls, and I'm gonna spend forever carving will suddenly pop out, and you'll really get the whole depth of that image there. So pretty cool. I always love and totally geek out when I'm able to kind of cross my cosplay passion with history. I actually learned costuming and first started costuming for historical reenactments and Renaissance fairs and things like that. So I kind of got to start with using things like linens and heavy wools and cottons, while a lot of people get started on sewing much lighter items. So there you can see I've kind of it's a little bit difficult to see here, but you can kind of see how on this part here it's a little bit more pressed down, and as I go it's gonna get even more pressed down and deep. So using that flat edge, yeah, exactly. So I am even though I have been practicing a lot, I'm still a kind of a leatherworking noob. I've done some leatherworking for bits of costumes before, a bracer, a belt, something like that. This is carving something quite this intricate is a new challenge for me, which is something I love in cosplay. I very rarely choose a next costume that will have similar challenges to one that I've already done because I really like building my skills. And YouTube is my friend when I'm learning new things. This is Dan Bull here, by the way. He's a really amazing rapper with very, very entertaining lyrics. So you can see now kind of been flattening the area around it, which makes her start to stand out more. And that will just we'll keep adding it. If you're trying to get super deep edges, they actually have like stamps that you use. So you'd like put it down and then like hammer on top of it. But this is not the same tool for that. I don't know if I'm gonna try and carve it that deep. I might. I want to see how I can do it with this first, because stamps make me nervous because there's not really a way to undo them. So once you get a cut I'd rather like very slowly keep making it a little deeper than take the chance of using a stamp and making it way too deep and kind of having that issue. So if you are enjoying, then yeah, so tooling, it's easier than I thought it would be. For Turks in the chat room, using it as panels for, wings. Beautiful, yeah. Punched and dyed. Yeah, the dyeing is the part that always makes me nervous because I have to do it after I do the carving. And I've never screwed something up at that point, but there's always that chance that after spending all that time carving it, you'll dye it and it'll be just like the absolute wrong color. So I'm actually trying to do this part first, and then I'll buy the leather to make the rest of the corset, because I'm so like nervous that I'm going to buy all that leather, which is fairly expensive, and then dye this part the wrong color. So I will dye this and then find other leather to match, because that will be easier. You can see. And as you go, and you can just like start getting it really, really deep in there. Wish you could see kind of the depth of it. I'm going to hold it kind of sideways so you can start to see how it's kind of raised looking now. So I highly recommend the internet. The internet is amazing for learning leatherworking. And also Tandy Leather has some cool classes. And you'd be amazed what you can just like learn just hanging out in there for a while and talking to people. And those are pretty common. It's an awesome remix. This is an artist named Daniel Tidwell, and he does amazing guitar work. So cool. Kind of making things rock out. Cool. All right. Gonna kind of continue here. So like I said earlier, this is my very first night of streaming. So if you kind of like what you're seeing, if you have suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. Thank you for hosting. Got our very first host, our first night. It's very exciting. So I wish I could get this camera a little closer, but I don't know if I can. Move it up right there. So I'm kind of getting to the point now where I'm going to start working on some of the finer details, which really just takes a lot of patience. Eventually, after I get all the little curls and everything carved in there, then I'll start using, just like I added the kind of the embossed and pressed down around the edges, I'll use that same technique to do things like her cheekbones, the shading on her neck, and things like that. Lots of little details. This part takes a lot of like focus and concentration. Thank you for helping out the new streamers. I really appreciate it. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I was like, I don't know. I think it's the teacher in me. I've, was a teacher for years, and now I'm an assistant principal at a school that kind of wants to like share how I do things because people ask me a lot, especially things like when I work with metal or when I'm working with leather and things like that. That's something that not a lot of more cosplayers than before, but not a lot of cosplayers when I first started were working in. So I got lots of questions about that. So it's kind of like, well, if I do the streaming thing, I can kind of show people. So I really appreciate the help. Thank you very much. It's kind of neat finding kind of the Twitch cosplay community too. It's so just kind of another layer of, we share progress pics and works in progress and all these things. It started with just Facebook, and now we've got Twitter, and Instagram has been amazing for works in progress. And now we have this thing where we can actually like watch each other craft, and it's so amazing. I've been watching a bunch of my friends. Kit Quinn has been working on some stuff that's just incredible lately. Hoku Props. Bert Vixen has been doing like the most incredible 3D modeling for her upcoming cosplay to use a 3D printer. Which, I'm a little more old-fashioned, I guess, carving leather by hand, but I enjoy it. It's always fun. Kind of bangs. I don't like bangs. Got rid of my bangs a long time ago. Alright, I'm gonna take a break from that for a minute because I really don't like the curls. I'm gonna try her eyes and her nose. So for this, I'm actually using like a large needle. It's like a pin that I use to keep wigs on mannequin heads, on the styrofoam mannequin heads when I'm styling them. So it's much thicker than an actual, just like one of the pins that I use just for sewing purposes. So this is what I'm going to be using for her small details, her eyes, her eyebrows, all that stuff. Pull her picture over here to get that too. It's interesting because a lot of the different colors and stuff in these goddesses is going to kind of disappear. They're going to end up, even though it's a fairly simple picture anyway, it's going to end up being like very monochromatic with them just carved into the leather. So I'm kind of interested to see, while they have very distinct looks in George Perez's art, kind of what it ends up looking like when they're all there, all in just reds with black outline. So that'll be an interesting thing. Doing her brows right now. Can't screw up the brows. They're very important to any lady's look. So you can see that kind of Making it a little deeper there. Still very rough looking, but it's getting there.
Home Depot has a new idea. Free carpet
Oh,
installation.
Home Depot.
That means...
Yeah, I probably should spring for premium Spotify. I'm going to turn that off for a second. Yeah. Tiny little things. It's like too old for all these little details, man. My eyes. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing, in my experience, the dyeing of it really brings stuff to life. I made a cincture of leather that I carved a D20 in because I'm a gaming dork. Um, and it was like the regular leather color, and then I dyed it this beautiful like deep oak brown that just looked incredible. And when I started dyeing it, at first I was really nervous. Then I put like the sheen on it and like really buffed it out. It just like turned out so stunning. So it's always kind of like, it's anything with painting and dyeing. You never know exactly how it's going to turn out, no matter how many times you've done it. There's always kind of that variable. So yeah, I'm really nervous and excited about that part too. And really, like once it gets all carved, like seeing it all kind of pop once it's dyed that bright, beautiful red color, and then the kind of inking is done to bring out those details. Your diamond sword. You gotta love raps about Minecraft. I mean, really, it's amazing. Gotta love Dan Bull. My workout playlist is like a very large percentage his music, and actually this entire stream is pretty much my workout playlist. I'm always funny, like I'm sitting there at the gym working out, and I'm always like, if anyone else knew what I was listening to. Noses are always so hard, like when I'm carving her little nose, because even like when you look at the artwork, like a couple of them have real noses, but she's got like this tiny little like W shape that's not really a nose. So it's like you have to get it absolutely perfect, or it literally looks just like she's got a W in the middle of her face. Got to be super delicate with her nose and her lips. The other thing about leather is you can sometimes you can sort of like erase your mistakes. So if you notice here, like over here on this scrap piece, like if I make a mark, you can kind of see it there. And then I kind of rub at it or add a little bit of water, just a tiny little bit. Sometimes the leather will re-expand and kind of like flatten out there. So there's still a tiny little bit of a mark there, but it's a lot better than it was. So while you can't really erase your mistakes, you can sometimes like make them so they wouldn't normally be visible. And then once you dye it, it doesn't stand out quite so much. So kind of gotten past the point of using the larger tools now, doing like the little details of her eyes. I like using illustrations kind of because they're drawn very similarly to how leather will look once it's got need a little bit more water there. Once it's got the inking done on it. So parts that are shadow, if I make that more indented, like if there's a shadow under her chin, if I indent a space there when I put the black or the very dark brown inking leather dye over it once it's final color, then that part will fill with that, and then it'll kind of look just like the drawing, which is always nice and helpful. I'm actually terrible at drawing, which is why I basically kind of create an image that I like and then trace it, because I can sew like the Dickens, I can paint things, I can cut and craft and heat foam, carve, scale mail, all those things I can't draw, which maybe is why I'm a cosplayer and not a comic book artist. Other than, being an assistant principal of a school, because that's my actual job. But this is my super hobby. Warcraft rap. I love World of Warcraft. Eventually, I might actually stream that, but that's a little intimidating. Like I feel good about my cosplay skills, but I feel like people are super judgy on Twitch about gaming skills. I'm like, yeah. I used to be a hardcore raider and I'm a super casual now, so oh well. Doing her little eyes. Again, super slow process because you can't really erase it, so it's easier just to kind of slowly carve than to overdo it. Can you guys hear the music? I'm being told that the music is not playing. Huh. Oh, I turned it down. Right, because they were... There we go. Turned it down because the commercials and forgot to turn it back up. My bad. Alright, so this is the Warcraft rap. So sorry about talking about it, how cool it was when you guys couldn't hear it. It'll play again in like a couple hours, so it'll be fine. Here we go. Sorry, this is like a super detailed part. I want to make sure you guys can see too. I need a little more light in here. So for those of you who missed the beginning, basically what I did is I laid the paper image on top of the leather and just did little pinpricks through the paper and then traced between what essentially was a really difficult to connect the dots and then start carving all that in. And that lets me carve leather when I have no drawing skills. And the eyes are the hardest part because you have to actually, like if you're drawing, you have to kind of make sure that the eyes are aimed in the same direction. Otherwise, you get this crazy looking goddess. Who's like looking like crazy eyes everywhere, different directions. My eyes are looking a bit more exotic than the ones George Perez drew. She's a little bit more like doe-eyed in his drawing, but that's okay. I don't mind having a little bit of a difference there. Need to make her eyes a little wider, I think. You gotta kind of keep wetting the leather, or if it starts to get, so you can kind of see there. Right this way. Not perfect, but getting there slowly but surely. And then once I have kind of the eyes like laid out like I like them, once I trace those dots that I made earlier, then you go in and like really kind of push harder and make it deeper. It's really about making like super light carving so you know exactly where you want every line and then making it deeper. And someday when I'm better, I mean, I have to be quite so careful about it. But for now, I prefer to be careful and not have to redo everything again. Because redoing things sucks. We all have to redo things though, especially in cosplay. Use the edge of this for her eyes. What's this? This is fun. I like this. It's like a good kind of like motivation. Do, 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 do. Super kind of chill. So, this is my first night streaming. I was hosted. I'm very excited about that. If anyone wants to follow me, that'd be amazing too. I have 12 whole followers on this channel. It's very exciting. I'm pretty much GoldenLassoGirl everywhere too, so if you want to check out my Facebook page or my Instagram or any of that stuff, all of it's linked below in the channel. I have a lot of tutorials on my website, so before I started making video tutorials, I would type them, which is very exciting, typing, having them like just published in written word form on a website back in the olden days. So I have a lot of tutorials up about how I sewed my new 52 corset, which has like kind of the chevron pattern in the leather, all these different things. Down there you see the kind of the bombshell pinup. I actually created that design, and DC Comics actually bought that design from me and used it in their DC Bombshells comic book. So that's very exciting. Oh, yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I've kind of been stalking a bunch of different people's channels. And yeah. So if that's where you saw me, I've kind of been jumping in, kind of seeing what's what things work in the community, what's kind of like the norm for different creative streams, specifically cosplay streams, what bots they use, etc. I kind of messed up her eye on that side. Because there's kind of like a vibe to every community on Twitch, I've noticed. I really, I've been in bands a lot in my life too, so I've really enjoyed watching a lot of the music on Twitch too, so that's kind of like its own cool vibe too. And I really love some of what I've seen there. There, okay, her eyes are starting to look better. So they're kind of like anime looking, but still. Yay! Thank you for following. Morius. I think I said that right. And yeah, you got to see, you're the first person actually to use my awesome follow image with Linda Carter becoming Wonder Woman. So thank you. So yeah, so this is me practicing. I am making eventually I'll be carving a full corset of a pretty complex picture, but this is me practicing human faces because they're really freaking difficult to carve. I'm doing her eyes and stuff right now. I feel like it got darker in here, but maybe I just, that may just be my eyes because I'm looking at this like tiny little thing. Here you go. Doing her W nose, and now I'm going to work on her lips. Lips are super hard too because a lot of times when you're working off of drawings, they're not fully there. Like you can see on this is the goddess right now. I'm working on her. She got wet while I was putting her on the leather, so sorry, she's a little warped. This is by George Perez, but if you look, like she has like a bottom lip and then just like a black line for her upper lip. So that becomes kind of hard to carve into leather when you really are going to need kind of both those lips. So you're going to do the best you can and kind of translate it to the leather. So this is, this music right here is the Angry Folk Band. And this is a guy named Stu Venable. He's actually my DM and GM at gaming. So this song is close to my heart because it's pretty much a song about, you know, killing his players at the table, of which I'm sometimes one. So I'm going to make sure she's got like a proportional lip. That's one of the easiest mistakes to make when you're carving super intricate things like this. You want to start making it a little bit bigger so it's easier to carve. So as you're going, suddenly you'll have like this mouth that's like giant and taking up a quarter of her face, which we all love, like super pouty lips, but that's a little much. So slowly kind of adding on to there. And yeah, that doesn't look great. Add a little bit of water. When in doubt, add water. It's a good tip for working out or for carving leather. So try and turn her a little bit so you get a little bit better look at her. What do you guys think? Is it turning out pretty good so far? Like I said, this is like my first like super detailed carving project. This is the chest piece for this leather cosplay. So it's made out of real steel and metal. So we got to make sure it looks amazing and that the corset lives up to the chest armor. Boob armor, as it were. So these little details. I'm probably going to be streaming quite a bit in the next few weeks, especially as we're leading up to Los Angeles Comic-Con and Halloween. I'm working on, I'm going to be working on, because I haven't actually started it yet, the DC Superhero Girls Wonder Woman cosplay. So that I can wear that to work on Halloween, because all the little kids at school are going to flip out when their assistant principal shows up as Wonder Woman. Very excited about that. So I will be sewing the worst fabric in the world, which is spandex, for that project. And I'll be working on patterning that out. It was supposed to be my project tonight, but I didn't want to do that. I was excited about carving leather. So I'll probably be working on that maybe tomorrow a little bit. Definitely Saturday. I'm probably going to do a lot of streaming on Saturday. I'm going to be keeping a Google Calendar schedule, since my schedule is a little bit variable sometimes. So if you look down below on this channel, you'll see a link, a button that you can click, and it will take you to my schedule, which will be more updated soon. Now that I feel like finally, I didn't want to add a bunch of stuff to the schedule until we got it out, but it feels like we've got like the streaming thing down. So we were having major issues earlier, but we got it. We got this. All right, lips are super hard. I hate lips. Yeah, it's starting to look still super rough looking, but not terrible. It'll start looking less like cut out and two-dimensional when I start adding in some more like pressed in details. So I'm probably going to do that a little bit right now. And really just the curls are the worst thing ever. Ever! Oh, more ads. Gonna turn it down while we have the commercials. Sorry about that. Eventually, if people are actually regularly watching the stream, I might actually splurge and get Spotify Premium, so that we don't have ads. But right now, I'm just excited that you guys can see my face and see my cosplay. So, yay! Another song by my DM. I actually inspired this song. What seemed good at the time. I inspired this song while we were playing, I think it was a Savage Worlds game, and there was a giant underwater city, that all I had to do was hack one. We were like escaping from something. I don't know. It was a couple of years ago, but all I had to do was my character had to hack one keypad, and I completely screwed up the roll, like absolutely abysmally failed, which caused. We were trying to escape, so it caused the airlock that was keeping out the entire ocean to fail, and flooded the underwater city, pretty much killing everybody, including my party and the entire thing of the city. Actually, I don't think the whole party died. I don't remember, but it was amazingly epic and inspired this song about how you should always have a plan B when you're playing games. All right, so I'm starting now on these deeper lines here to just do some soft, hopefully you can see, to do a little bit of embossing there. So instead of just that straight cut in there, it's got a little bit of softness to it. And you really want to think about how shadows work when you're doing this particular part. Where, you know, the light's coming from. Luckily, I have a little bit of a guide with this particular piece looking at George Perez's art. But you want to think of it like there was a light shining on them where would the shadows be. And you want to kind of emboss those shadows. You don't want to just like willy-nilly emboss anywhere, because then it's going to start looking weird. Because the human eye is really good at picking out those things that look a little weird and you're not even sure why. So just kind of think about it like, okay, the light is over here and it's shining down, so there should be like a shadow here, that sort of thing. And all the girls ever. And while you're carving, you have to kind of remember like those embossed areas are what are eventually where the extra, the black ink is going, or the inking is going to kind of pool. So that's kind of where it will show up. So awesome. Thank you guys for watching. It's kind of cool. I'm used to like sitting in here alone for hours, listening to my music by myself. Now I get to talk to awesome people. If you have any questions, I'm also happy to answer any questions. You can see I'm starting to add kind of like that depth on her neck there. And this is kind of like some makeup knowledge actually comes in really helpful when you're doing faces too, because like all the places where I'd want to contour on my face and like put makeup, I'm gonna be doing that here. I have to say I was very disappointed by the most recent Assassin's Creed game. I was like, English history is like my thing, and I was super excited about it. And then I was like, this is not so great. Black Sail, or yeah, the pirate one was amazing. That one was very cool. I like the first little bit of the American Revolution one, and then I just hated the main character. He was kind of a jerk. And it's getting cold again, so it's almost time for my yearly playthrough of Skyrim, which is super exciting. Because I don't actually have winter because I live in Southern California. So I just play Skyrim on my big TV and imagine that I'm someplace that has snow. Oops, I bumped the thing. There we go. Oh. You can kind of see now where I've added a little bit of, like, there you can see when I kind of show the sheen right here. Starting to add a little bit more depth to it. Alright, thank you so much. I hope to see you later, Turks. I hope you followed, and yeah. Yay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I need to like get Discord hooked up. I use it for gaming all the time, but I have since it's my first night streaming, I'm learning stuff. Thank you for shouting out for me. That's awesome. It's been an exciting night so far. Oh, we're at 2.5 hours of figuring out streaming and streaming. Doing pretty well. That's awesome. To be fair, there was a lot of troubleshooting earlier for those of you who weren't here earlier. But we've got it all figured out now, so I was trying to stream, like, the images were, like, a little bit too big. I really was, like, I had high goals for the quality of the images on the stream, and my goals were a little bit too high because the internet and Twitch just gave me the giant middle finger when I tried to stream. They were like, oh no, oh no. There's no way, even with your blazing fast internet, that you can stream that quality. But I think it's pretty good. I think you can still kind of see. So, it's working out pretty good. We're rocking out to music together. I'm going to start working on these curls of doom. Because, oh my god, they are doomy curls. I might do like one Twitch thing just to see. Or, sorry, Twitter shout out. Ah, Turks followed me on Twitter. Thank you. Chainmail, that's right. Oh my gosh. You're going to have to see my big Barda one day. I don't have any pictures of it right now, but I'm going to be doing some repairs on her. I actually have a full suit of blue scale mail that I made to wear as Big Barda because Big Barda has scales all over her. So that was my initial foray into making mail, and I've done a lot of different stuff since then. I'm really addicted to it. It's one of my favorite things. Coolness. So they're kind of making the curls deeper. Kind of see her amazing hairdo, which, yes, I still think it looks like those Jello mold tower things. But she's a goddess, so I guess she can have her hair however she wants. Come back into focus. There we go. I find that ends of hair is the hardest because everyone kind of makes it just kind of like a rounded, just a perfect little thing. And that's not how it looks. I think I might have gone through the playlist and added all the Assassin's Creed songs at the same time. But that's cool. Gotta love Assassin's Creed themed music, especially when it's got kind of like the piratey feel. As someone who spent a lot of time singing piratey music at Renaissance fairs, I got it. I appreciate it. Yeah. Just trying to carve more of her hair. You can see the leather starting to dry out a little bit. You can start seeing the drying patterns in it. usually means you need to add water. Also, when you start carving into it and that lighter color appears, that means you probably need to add a little bit of water. You can kind of see all the details better too when I darken it. There, make it a little. Pretty happy with that so far. Probably going to need to wrap up fairly soon because I have to get up really early in the morning every morning to open the school. But I'm pretty happy with that so far. It's kind of her next to her. It's not like exact, but it's close enough to like really kind of recognize, which I'm really happy with because I want to kind of pay honor. It's getting late. My brain is dying. Kind of an homage to George Perez and all the kind of work he did to kind of bring Wonder Woman back to her true self, as it were, because she'd gone through a bunch of creators who didn't really get her, and George Perez and his team were really the first ones to really bring her back to the kind of her Greek roots and really find a way to mesh her Greek roots with the actual comic book. Because a lot of times it was something that she would say, oh, oh, Hera did but they didn't really incorporate kind of the theology and that aspect of it into her character until George Perez is really one of the first people to really do that in a way that seemed permanent. It kind of paved the way for the actual kind of Greek roots of Wonder Woman. And she's pretty wondrous. I'm also going to be spending some time repairing some costumes and some cosplays too. I have Lady Sif, the comic book version, that I'm going to be working on, kind of fixing and updating slightly. Zatanna, I need to make a corset for her because I've always just borrowed one from my friend Lauren at Castle Corsetry. So I really kind of want to make one that's mine. I also found some really beautiful kind of gold yellow. So I'm going to make a Bruce Timm inspired Zatanna from his comic, sorry, it's hard to carve and talk at the same time, from his cartoon versions of the Justice League. So here we go. The curls are starting to really kind of take shape there. It's looking pretty good. Considering how much time I've spent troubleshooting the stream. Not terrible. So, those of you who have just joined us, working on a Greek-inspired, historically accurate Wonder Woman corset that will kind of tell the story, a la like when you watch a Gladiator or something. They have the armor, the leather armor that's carved with the horses and things like that. That's actually historically true, but instead of just having random symbols, that always told a story. So I'm going to kind of be doing that too. And my armor will tell the story of how Wonder Woman Diana became the champion of the Amazons. I love the song. There we go. To all those little details in there. It's actually starting to come together pretty well. I wasn't sure those curls were going to turn out. Because holy buckets, those are annoying. It's interesting too that you can kind of see these lines as the leather dries, how it doesn't necessarily dry evenly. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Add a little bit more like depth to her. I want to add a little bit. Oh my God, I love this song. I keep saying that because it's my playlist and I love all the songs on my playlist. And I'm a total dork. But I'm going to add a little bit, like right here, a little bit of shading. So she's got a little bit more pronounced cheekbones, which that's not really a part of George Perez's drawing. But I'm tweaking it a little bit. Get his pay. If my singing is annoying you, please let me know and I will stop. Because, yeah, I start singing sometimes. I did carve her very detailed necklace on this. But I figure if I can get the curls, I can probably get the necklace fairly well. All right, I'm feeling good about that. I feel like her brows need to be a little bit more pronounced. Because, girls got to have good brow game. Which is actually a thing women say to each other. That will be his end. All right, I think I am complete for the evening. So I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I feel like I might be at a place where I can actually go into it and carve it with some confidence. I might do one more practice with the eagle. We'll see. Just because the eagle is very different. I've practiced the faces quite a bit, so I'm getting kind of good at those. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will be working a lot this week on this and my other cosplay for DC Superhero Girls. So if you want to see me work with spandex, which I absolutely abhor, then that will be happening probably maybe tomorrow a little bit, but mostly on Saturday. Tomorrow night, I'll be streaming with my tabletop group on the Happy Jacks RPG Live channel. I'll probably be hosting it here, so you can see that if you want to see me talk about tabletop games. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Please follow and come back later. I'm very excited about doing this, and this was my first night. Thanks for being my firsts. All right. Have a good night, you guys. Thank you.